After I announced a change of groom, the scumbag lost his mind on the eve of my wedding. I discovered my fiancé was cheating. The other woman texted him. "When are you breaking up with her?" He replied. "You're crossing the line." Then, without hesitation, he blocked and deleted her contact. As he turned back, I closed my eyes. He wrapped his arms around me, placing a tender kiss on my forehead. Once he was asleep, I took out my phone too, pulled a contact out of my blocked list, and sent a message. "Didn't you say you wanted to marry me? I'll be waiting for you at the wedding venue in 2 weeks." At the dinner where Julian Davis announced our wedding date to his friends, I tried a popular trick I saw online. I left my phone on the table and went to the restroom wearing my Bluetooth earbuds. I thought, we're finally getting engaged. Julian, being the playful type he is, might get sentimental in front of his friends, maybe say things he wouldn't say to my face. Sure enough, I heard him laughing through the earbuds. "Ah, I love her so much, I can't help it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting married so soon. She's my dream girl, marrying her is my greatest wish." A happy smile spread across my face. Just as I was about to head back, I heard him continue. "But there's a whole line of sweethearts waiting for me to give them attention. If I gave up the entire forest for one tree, I'd regret it even if I lived to be 100. Harry, cover for me later. Tell her I went to your place to watch the game. Sasha's waiting for me tonight." His friend laughed and teased him, asking if he had a conscience. Wasn't he afraid of getting caught? "No way. I've done this countless times, I'm experienced. Besides, she really trusts me completely." Seriously though, Alina's got great legs, but she's flat as a board. Sometimes, with the lights off, it feels like sleeping next to one of the guys. Everyone roared with laughter. Hearing this, I trembled, barely able to stand. My body. He even discussed it with his friends, turning me into a joke. 5 years together, and he was a repeat offender, yet I'd truly never suspected a thing. Could my trust in him also be his excuse for cheating? I took off the earbuds, overwhelmed, and stumbled back into the restroom. The mirror reflected my reddened eyes and tear-streaked face. Later, I composed myself, walked out pretending nothing had happened, and sat down, enduring the lecherous glances several of his friends cast my way. When he mentioned his friend inviting him over to watch the game, I just smiled, saying nothing, just like always. But I hailed a taxi and followed him silently. I watched him go to his friend's house, saw them take photos together to fool me. I watched him wrap his arm around a girl and enter a hotel together. Even the taxi driver sensed something was wrong. Feeling sorry for me, he handed me a few tissues. Once you've cried enough, the tears stop. Once you've heard enough, you become numb, clear-headed. When I woke up the next morning, Julian was already out of bed. He was in the kitchen making me breakfast. He'd thoughtfully prepared soy milk, even getting the sweetness just right. I sat down at the dining table. He came up behind me, gently and skillfully tying up my hair. "Baby, I'll clean the kitchen when I get back. Leave the socks too, I'll wash them for you later." I swallowed the bite of sandwich in my mouth and looked up at him. "Are you going out again?" He sat down beside me, looking apologetic. "I'm sorry, baby. I know it's tough leaving you to handle the wedding preparations alone. But this old classmate flew back specifically for our wedding and insisted I go fishing with him. I couldn't really refuse." I nodded okay, and he rummaged around the house, pretending to look for his fishing rod. Less than an hour after he left, I received photos from the private investigator. He had his arm around a short-haired girl, kissing her left cheek. I let out a cold laugh and messaged the wedding planner, telling them to change the groom's name on everything. Then, I casually sent Theodore Clark pictures of several different wedding decor styles, asking which one he liked. He replied quickly, "Choose your favorite." Then he transferred $200,000 to my account. "I'll be back as soon as I wrap things up at the company." Theodore Clark and I were practically childhood sweethearts. We were classmates in elementary and middle school, though we went to different high schools. He pursued me for 2 years, and we dated casually for a few months. But he was too busy, preparing to take over his family's business. He had so much to learn. Not long after we started dating, he kept asking me to marry him. He was always swamped with work and couldn't spend time with me, and I didn't want to get married so young, so I broke up with him in a fit of pique. Even after I started dating Julian, Theo would still message me occasionally and send me gifts. When Julian saw them, I offered to delete Theo's contact. but Julian snatched my phone, laughing with a mischievous glint in his eye. Why delete? Blocking him is way more insulting. And just like that, Theodore Clark spent several years in my block list. Later, he started sending me emails. Apart from holiday greetings, I rarely replied. My phone vibrating brought me back to the present. It was a photo and video from Julian. In the video, he was holding up a fish, looking thrilled. "Wifey, I'll make you fish soup when I get back." He then panned the camera to show a man sitting beside him. It was precisely because he proactively reported everything he did that I truly never doubted him. Julian came home that evening and was in bed before 10. Looks like his date really wore him out. My head was throbbing. I reached out and shook him awake. He rubbed his eyes sleepily and mumbled, "So tired today, just once, okay, baby?" leaning in to kiss me. I turned my head away. "Can you get my medicine? My head hurts." He agreed and got out of bed, muttering, "Migraine again? When will this old problem of yours ever get better? Take the medicine, and I'll give you a massage." After I took the medicine, he pulled me onto his lap, massaging my temples while yawning. "Silly goose, aren't I good to you? What would you do without me, huh?" I closed my eyes, not wanting to speak. Julian was indeed very good to me. We were high school classmates and went to university in the same city. But we only started dating in our sophomore year. The first time he introduced me to his friends, he held my hand throughout the meal, refusing to let go. He said he'd liked me since high school, that I was his idealized woman, his dream girl. He was thoughtful, caring, attentive to every detail. I often thought I was incredibly lucky, but reality slapped me hard across the face. I pushed his hand away, lay back down on the pillow, and choked back a sob, whispering, "Let's sleep." He didn't overthink it and quickly fell asleep. I lay awake, eyes open, and retrieved his phone from under the pillow. I tried unlocking it several times, but it wouldn't open. Clearly, the password was no longer the date we started dating. When I woke up the next day, my headache hadn't eased much. Julian was already standing in front of the full-length mirror, getting dressed up. Fighting the pain, I asked, "Are you going out again?" He swapped one jacket for another, replying, "Yeah, playing ball with Harry and the guys today. No time to make breakfast, just order takeout later." Does playing ball require dressing up like a peacock trying to attract a mate? I got up, walked over to him, and adjusted his collar. "I'm not feeling well today. Could you maybe not go? Just stay home with me?" He looked troubled. "It's just that I promised them yesterday. How about I come back early tonight?" He leaned in to kiss me again, but I dodged him. I forced a smile. "Go ahead." After he left, I changed and went to the company to check Julian's annual performance report. Then I drafted a termination letter and sent it to the company chairman, who is also my uncle, Robert Fairchild. After requesting his signature, I forwarded it to HR. Julian had only been with the company for just over a year, and thanks to my connections, he was already a supervisor. I had pulled so many all-nighters working on proposals, and he got all the credit. Meanwhile, I was still a junior employee. I rubbed my slightly aching temples. Firing him felt much better. Back home, I packed up all the limited edition sneakers I had bought him and took them to a consignment shop to sell. Julian was audacious. With the wedding just days away, he still dared to parade around with strange women. An acquaintance mentioned seeing Julian in a jewelry store with a woman, apparently buying jewelry. The private investigator also sent a video clip. The audio was a bit muffled, but mostly clear. The woman asked him, "Won't she find out? Maybe you should buy two, one for her?" Julian replied, "It's fine. She told me herself she has plenty of jewelry and asked me not to buy her anymore. Besides, she's not as obedient as you. Practice that new move more, I'll check next time." The two of them were leaning over the counter, seemingly oblivious to the disdainful look on the salesperson's face standing before them. Julian came home early, looking anxious. "Baby, why did the company fire me?" I glanced at him coolly. "Oh, your paid leave for the wedding is quite long, and people at the company were gossiping. I asked management to let you go for now." "How can they do that?" He suddenly rushed towards me, his voice much louder. "I'll come back to work right after the wedding. Tell them to cancel this termination right now. It's okay. After our honeymoon, you can rejoin directly as a department manager." "Really? You cleared it with the chairman?" Receiving my confirmation, he finally relaxed, only then noticing the invitations on the table. Why did the invitation design change? Did you have them redone? I followed his gaze. Yes, redone. Do you like this floral pattern? He mumbled agreement and ducked into the bathroom to take a call. If only he had opened the invitation, he would have seen the groom's name was no longer his. Soon, he realized his treasured shoe collection was also gone and asked if I had moved it to our new place. Without looking up, I said, "Saw you weren't wearing them, figured you didn't like them anymore, so I gave them away. You know I cherish those." I cut him off directly, showing him the photo of him and the woman in the jewelry store. A flicker of panic crossed his eyes, then he explained earnestly, "I went to buy you a bracelet. I brought a friend along to help pick a style." He then actually pulled a box from his pocket and handed it to me. "I wanted to put it on you while you were sleeping, surprise you, I didn't expect." I opened it to find a substantial gold bracelet. I remembered the investigator's message saying he ultimately only bought the other woman a 200 ring. He bought this bracelet after dropping the woman off, going back to the store for it. It cost nearly $5,000. He took it and put it on my wrist, complimenting it. "Wifey, it looks beautiful on you." I recalled something I'd read online. He's being extra nice to you because he feels guilty. I took the bracelet off and placed it back in the box. Let's wait until the wedding day to wear it. As the wedding date drew closer, Julian went out more frequently. Sometimes the photos from the investigator showed a blonde girl in the morning and a brunette in the afternoon. While he was out, I moved my things bit by bit, and soon, most of my belongings were gone. He returned to find the place looking so empty and seemed puzzled. "Wifey, where are your things? Why does the house feel so bare?" "We have to move after the wedding anyway, so I started packing early. Plus, a lot needs replacing, so I threw quite a bit out." He came over and hugged me from behind, burying his face in my neck. He was too close. I could smell another woman's perfume on him. Fighting back nausea, I subtly pushed him away. His expression didn't change, he just started tidying up some trash. "So when should I move my stuff?" "Never mind, you go first. My clothes can just squeeze into a corner of your closet later." "Didn't you want to get a cat? Let's get one after the wedding." "What should we name it? How about Fluffy?" "Wifey, let's go to the beach for our honeymoon. I've done the research, picked out the hotel, I'll definitely take gorgeous photos of you." Listening to his chatter, I lost patience, abruptly stood up, and the hem of my skirt accidentally swept the wedding invitation to the floor. I froze for a second. He picked it up smiling, lovingly dusting off non-existent dirt, and chuckled, "Wifey, why haven't you packed this up with everything else? It's our wedding invitation." The next moment, his face turned pale, looking at me in disbelief. Oh, he finally opened the invitation that wasn't meant for him. These people are so careless they even misspelled my name Wifey. Give them a bad review? I opened my mouth, but ultimately said nothing. He didn't even remember Theodore's name. Watching him toss the invitation into the trash bin, he then came over, took my hand, looking eager to please. "Wifey, I'm playing games with Harry and the guys tonight. I'll try to be back early." I nodded. "Perfect, I needed to pick up Theodore tonight anyway." Julian got to the door but turned back again. "Wifey, are you upset about something?" I forced a smile, told him not to worry, and only then did he leave. I glanced at the time, still enough time to put on some makeup. I called my mom to confirm the restaurant for dinner. When I picked up Theodore, he was wearing the gold-rimmed glasses I had chosen for him because I once said he looked handsome in them, giving off a dangerously attractive intellectual vibe. He hadn't changed much in the years we hadn't seen each other. He walked over and pulled me into his arms, cupping the back of my head and kissing me. My face flushed instantly. I hadn't even said a word. How did we end up kissing already? At the restaurant, Theodore's mother, Beatrice Clark, had already arrived and was chatting happily with my mom, Martha Fairchild, holding her hand. Seeing Theodore with his arm around me, they both fell silent, their eyes darting back and forth between us. Mrs. Clark reacted first, pulling Theodore's hand away. "Theo, honey, watch yourself, Aliner's getting married soon. What if her fiancé sees this and argues with Ellie?" My mom also looked slightly embarrassed and turned to ask me, "Where's Julian?" Theodore reached out, closed the private room door, and invited them to sit down. Mrs. Clark immediately took my hand again. "Oh, Ellie dear, your fiancé is so lucky to marry you. Our Theodore is just too slow, he's always liked you." "Oh dear, oops, forget I said that. You're getting married, why am I bringing this up? Sorry, Ellie, don't mind me. I smiled, glanced at Theodore, and calmly announced. The groom for the wedding in a few days is this gentleman right here, Mr. Theodore Clark. My mom was naturally bewildered, but she also liked Theodore very much. She sat there, quietly listening to my explanation. After I finished, I took some physical invitations out of my bag. Mom, you'll have to resend the invitations. We didn't have wedding photos yet, so the electronic invitations hadn't been made. Mrs. Clark took an invitation from my hand, looked it over several times, and burst out laughing. Oh, it's real, my son is getting married. She then sat down next to my mom, and the two started whispering excitedly about wedding details. Theodore just quietly sat down beside me and started putting food on my plate. I nudged his hand and whispered, "Help me move the last few things from my old place later." Okay. Mrs. Clark insisted on transferring money to me. I felt a bit embarrassed. That's really not necessary, Mrs. Clark. Theo already. His money is his, this is my own gesture, she interrupted quickly, demanding my account number from Theodore and wiring me a sum. After dinner, I packed the last of my things and moved into my new house. Theodore lingered, refusing to leave, constantly sticking close to me. The long-lost familiarity made me melt a little. Recalling the little moments from years ago, I didn't want to push him away. After holding me for a long time, he said hoarsely, "I missed you so much." When he took pajamas out of his suitcase, went into the bathroom to wash up, clearly intending to stay the night, I didn't refuse. After all, we were getting married in a few days. But then Julian called, his voice frantic. "Wifey, why aren't you home? All your stuff is gone too, are you angry?" I felt uneasy, so I rushed back. "Please don't be mad, okay? Did you go to your mom's? Can I come pick you up? Wait for me, I'll be right there." I wanted to break up with him right then, but at this hour, I was afraid he'd disturb my mom, so I lied. My mom said she missed me, so I came to stay with her for a couple of days. There was a pause on the other end, then a sigh of relief. "Okay, but you should have told me beforehand. When are we going for the wedding dress fitting? Remember to let me know." I gave him a couple of non-committal answers, said I wanted to sleep, and hung up. Theodore came out of the bathroom just as I was looking at the messages Julian had sent. "Wifey, I miss you so much when you're not home. I can't sleep. Thinking about us getting married makes me so happy. I don't know why, but without you here, I feel so unsettled. I really want to hold you." Theodore reached over and turned off my phone screen, but message notifications kept pinging. He simply turned the phone off completely. Before I could say anything, his lips silenced mine. Afterwards, I was so exhausted I couldn't lift a finger. I vaguely heard him say something about tomorrow, something about this being real. His kisses on the back of my neck were ticklish and tingly. I mumbled agreement drowsily. I slept deeply and woke up feeling parched, my head groggy. Fumbling for my phone on the bed, I pressed the power button. As the screen lit up, notifications chimed relentlessly. It was a long stream of messages from Julian. I scrolled through them blearily. Just then, Theodore leaned over, calling me to get up for breakfast. Coincidentally, at the restaurant, we ran into Harry Miller, the friend who always covered for Julian. After breakfast, Theodore and I went to the bridal shop for a fitting. Theodore was in the dressing room, and I was sitting on the sofa, feeling somewhat agitated. Just then, Julian rushed in. He knelt in front of me, his eyes red-rimmed, his voice urgent. "Wifey, I'm so sorry, I completely forgot today was the dress fitting." I just glanced at him coolly and uttered coldly, "Since you're here, let's say it face to face. Let's break up." He frowned deeply, confusion etched on his face. "I know you're angry, wifey. I'll make more time for you from now on. Honestly, you should have told me earlier about the fitting today. Why didn't you reply to my messages all day?" He reached out to grab my hand. I shot up from the sofa, avoiding his touch. Theodore emerged from the dressing room, naturally slipping an arm around my shoulders, his tones slightly provocative. "Please refrain from calling my woman wifey. It's rather nauseating." Julian instantly flared up, glaring at me. "You don't have to find someone just to provoke me. I already promised I'd spend more time with you." I just held Theodore's hand tightly. "I'm not trying to provoke you. He's the man I'm going to marry." Julian clearly didn't believe it. Theodore suddenly leaned down and gently kissed my lips. That kiss completely ignited Julian's fury. He roared at me, We're getting married in a few days, and you're cheating on me. How could you do this to me? Several other people trying on dresses nearby started whispering amongst themselves. What's going on? Cheating right in front of him? Gets caught and just breaks up? What kind of drama is this? If she kissed someone else just to spite her boyfriend, this woman has no shame. I sighed helplessly, pointed towards a woman who had been standing not far behind Julian the whole time, and said loudly, "You're busy checking into hotels with different women every day. Did you really think I didn't know anything? One day it's an excuse about fishing, the next it's playing games, but actually you're shacked up in hotels daily. Do you really need me to spell out all your disgusting deeds right here?" Julian's face turned deathly pale. I didn't want to argue with him anymore. Turning, I walked into the dressing room, changed, and then, holding Theodore's hand, walked out without looking back, leaving Julian standing there stunned, surrounded by judgmental stares and pointing fingers. That evening, it started raining heavily. Mom made hot pot at home, and we were enjoying it. Then I received a message from Julian's friend, Harry. It was a photo of Julian kneeling ramrod straight in the rain. Mom leaned over to look, surprised. "Hey, isn't that right downstairs from our building?" She hurried to the window and looked down. Sure enough, Julian was kneeling in the rain. I got up, glanced down, took out my phone, unblocked Julian, and sent him a message. "Stop the melodrama, leave immediately, or I'll call security to remove you." He replied while kneeling in the rain. "I know I was wrong, Ellie. Please forgive me. I can't live without you. I'll listen to everything you say from now on. I'll never contact those women again. Please don't be mad at me like this, okay?" Annoyed, I called property management directly. Concerned about potential trouble, they first tried reasoning with him nicely. When he refused to leave, they had security guards forcibly drag him away. I left all the wedding arrangements to Theodore. Just as I was truly relaxing, waiting for the wedding day, a woman contacted me. Even though she wore a mask and sunglasses, I recognized her outfit and hairstyle. She was the one Julian had been seeing the longest. When she asked me for $20,000, I laughed out loud. "I don't understand why you're asking me for money, and what makes you think I'd give you any?" "Because you're rich," she slumped in her chair, her tone indifferent. "Let me tell you, Julian has an STD, and I caught it from him. You think you got away clean? I'm telling you early so you can get treated early. Give me the money, or your new fiancé will get this news very soon." She pulled a diagnosis report from her bag and slapped it down in front of me. The diagnosis, in bold letters, syphilis. My eyelid twitched. My heart could no longer remain calm. I stood up, grabbed my bag. "Please don't contact me again, or I will call the police and report you for blackmail." I rushed to the hospital for tests. After much thought, I called Theodore. There was a moment of silence on the other end. I gave a bitter laugh. "It's okay, we can just cancel the wedding." I hung up immediately. Suddenly, someone hugged me from behind. Turning around, I was startled to see it was Julian. I quickly pushed him away. He looked aggrieved. "Ellie, you came to see me, right? I got drenched in the rain yesterday and have a fever today. I just heard you say you want to cancel the wedding." I couldn't hold back anymore and slapped him hard across the face. "You are utterly rotten, so filthy. Stay away from me." He froze. A girl ran over to support him, yelling at me. "If you break up, do it amicably. What gives you the right to hit him?" I gave a cold smile. "You should get yourself checked too. Julian has syphilis. Wouldn't want you to catch it." Hearing this, she instantly let go of him, looking like she wanted to be miles away from him. Judging by Julian's expression, it seemed he didn't even know himself. He looked utterly bewildered, his mouth moving slightly, but no words came out. I clutched the test report tightly, my knuckles white from the force. When my eyes fell upon the lines stating "no abnormalities detected," I let out a long sigh of relief. After all, since finding out about Julian's cheating, there had been no intimacy between us. Before I could catch my breath, my phone started ringing incessantly. Taking it out, the screen flashed with Agnes Davis's name, Julian's mother. A wave of annoyance washed over me, and I immediately declined the call. As if determined, she kept calling back using different numbers. Suppressing my irritation, I answered, intending to warn her to stop calling. But before I could speak, her sharp, furious voice erupted. "Eleanor Fairchild, what on earth do you think you're doing? What right do you have to cancel the wedding unilaterally? Do you have any idea how many relatives and friends I've already informed this wedding must happen? and you will book our flights and hotel immediately when we arrive. You must apologize to everyone in person and smooth this whole thing over." I took a deep breath and cut her off loudly. "Mrs. Davis. This time, it really was our fault. How about this? Add me to the family group chat, and I'll send some money gifts to everyone as an apology, just a small token." Okay. Unexpectedly, her attitude shifted instantly. One second she was spewing vitriol, the next she was beaming because of the money, readily agreeing. After hanging up, I quickly received her group chat invitation. A cold smirk touched my lips as I accepted without hesitation. Then, I dumped all the photos of Julian's infidelity and his explicit chat logs into the group. The chat instantly exploded. However, I had no interest in watching the drama unfold. After posting, I promptly left the group. Walking out of the hospital entrance, I saw Theodore's car parked by the curb. An indescribable sense of relief and peace washed over me. A smile spread across my face unconsciously as I asked softly, "Are you here to pick me up?" Once in the car, I leaned against his shoulder and told him with immense relief, "I'm healthy. It's all over." Theodore gently squeezed my hand. Because Julian kept showing up downstairs at my place, Theodore took me back to his house. The wedding proceeded as originally planned, except the scale was much grander than anticipated. The venue was exquisitely decorated. The number of guests was several times more than expected, making the wedding exceptionally lively and grand. After the wedding, I was exhausted. I slept from the afternoon straight through until 11 at night. When I woke up, Theodore handed me a tablet playing a video. It was filmed outside the wedding hotel. A woman in stiletto heels was ruthlessly kicking a man curled up on the ground. "Hide from me. I'll teach you to hide. I knew you'd be here today. You love her so much. Yet you still fool around, and don't use protection. You gave me a disease. I'll make you pay." A few minutes later, several other women appeared and also started punching and kicking him. Many people were watching, but no one stepped in to stop it. The man being beaten so wretchedly was Julian. Seeing this, I felt not a shred of pity, only deep disgust. I tossed the tablet aside distastefully. Stretching languidly, I suddenly jumped onto Theodore's back, wrapping my arms around his neck. So hungry, dearest husband, I'm starving. Take me out for hot pot." Theodore chuckled, supporting me with his hands as he stood up. "All right, hot pot first, then back for our wedding night." Theodore's extra chapter. Theodore Clark probably fell for a leaner Fairchild around the time he understood the difference between boys and girls. One afternoon in kindergarten, sunlight dappled through the leaves, casting shifting patterns on the ground. The adults sat around, watching the children play, and laughingly teased Theodore. "Little Theo, when you grow up, do you want to marry Ellie?" He instinctively stopped playing with his toy, lifted his small, earnest face, and nodded without hesitation. His clear eyes shone with determination as he declared loudly in his childish voice, "Yes." From that moment on, Ellie held a special place in his heart. When Ellie was around, he simply didn't see other girls. Attending different high schools, Theodore missed her so much he thought he'd go crazy. That's why he didn't care about dating rules or being too young. He started pursuing Ellie relentlessly, asking her to be his girlfriend. It wasn't until after their college entrance exams, when they were both adults, that Ellie finally agreed. For those 2 months, Theodore stuck to Ellie like glue, impossible to peel off. He realized how incredibly drawn he was to her, sometimes fearing he'd annoy her. This sweet period didn't last long before Theodore was sent abroad to study. Terrified that Ellie would break up with him, he constantly begged her to marry him. Ellie still broke up with him. Theodore sometimes thought he must have seemed utterly insane back then, but he had no time to grieve the breakup. There was too much he needed to do, too much to learn. Whenever he had a spare moment, he would message Ellie. He was certain Ellie still had feelings for him, so he thought if he could just grow up faster, he could be by her side and protect her. But Ellie started dating someone else. When he heard the news, he got drunk and lost control, making countless calls, sending endless messages. Eventually, he discovered he'd been blocked. The plane ticket back home that he'd bought expired during a business meeting the next day. He couldn't quite describe his feelings, but he knew he couldn't forget Ellie, couldn't stop loving her. He was also among the first to know she was getting married. No matter how bitter he felt, he still carefully selected a wedding gift for her. When he received her message asking if he still wanted to marry her, saying she'd wait for him at the wedding venue, he actually laughed out loud during a meeting. He didn't know how badly she must have been hurt to make such a decision, and his heart ached for her. He cursed Julian Davis thoroughly in his mind, yet also thanked him for returning Ellie to him. He dealt with his work obligations as quickly as possible and flew back immediately. Only when he held her in his arms did he allow himself to believe that all of this was actually real. Regarding the phone call Ellie made from the hospital before the wedding, he was simply afraid she had truly become a victim of Julian's recklessness. Fortunately, Ellie was fine. He had people investigate and inform all the women who had illicit relations with Julian about his disease. The person filming the video outside the wedding hotel was also arranged by him. He watched that video many times but still felt unsatisfied, thinking those women had been too lenient. He showed the video to Ellie, hoping it would give her some catharsis. But Ellie didn't seem to care, just hugged him playfully, saying she wanted hot pot. He smelled the familiar, faint fragrance emanating from Ellie and couldn't help but smile. This was the scene he had dreamed of countless times, the dream he had cherished for so many years.